Yo, guys, what is up? Hi, guys.
If you're just joining us, could you please be a little disciplined? If you're just joining us, could you please be a little disciplined? So our story is here. I'm going to ask a person to read for us at least, as we wait for the rest to come in. It's important. But for those who have read the story, please also make sure you are attentive. Those who are just coming in today, our lesson, we're supposed to be having a literature, an English lesson. This is senior 2, and I'm Teacher Larry. I had expected all of you to have read the story, would have started from a different side. English language is made up of majorly passages. So I encourage all of us to learn how to read. So here I'm encouraging us to develop a reading culture. And also the love for reading. Most of us hate reading. That's why they say that if you want to hide anything important from an African, hide it in a book. Let us not be those Africans. So here, today we are going to look at comprehension. And then later on, we shall go back to our questions. So this is the passage I had given us, Davi meets his uncle. That is the passage I had given us to read. The title of the passage is Davi meets his uncle. So I expected us to have read the story, but I'm told there are those who have not yet read. I thought I would wait until we're about 60 or so to start, so that we don't keep going back. Trevor Isaac, yes, this is, we're in for English. This is English, and I hope you know that this is senior 2 as well. Some of you are having codes of all the other classes, so you just log into anything which is on. I will also be able to share with you the timetable. I will put it in our Google Classroom, because in the WhatsApp classroom, they keep sharing, but I still hear some students saying they don't have a copy and all that. So let us be reading this story as others come. You can first be reading individually as we wait for other students to join us, because we don't want a small class, and then later on the majority come and they disturb. So we can be silently reading this story. For those who can still read it from their Google Classroom platform, they should be able to do that. Please, those who just join, mute. Make sure you're muted so that we don't disorganize the rest. Okay, so let me pick at least 2 readers. I will have the first reader take us through and then the second reader. Some are not in the WhatsApp group. I shall be able to share all those links. If Teacher To is hearing, you could help me share the links for Google Classroom and then WhatsApp. You could share them on the chat so that those who are not there can join. Noelin Kasuti, you could be able to read for us. There's Noelin. I thought Johan was up.
Good morning, teacher.
Good morning, Noelin. How are you?
I'm fine. Sir, can you please widen the screen?
Auto-rotate your phone.
I'm using the laptop.
You're using a laptop?
Yeah.
Okay, now, because if I widen the full screen, I will not be able to access certain things on my screen. So that's why I was thinking you do that. You can't zoom. Have you seen that part of the zoom bit down here?
Yeah.
Yes, use zoom. Zoom that document.
Okay, teacher.
Does it help? I've also zoomed mine. You can also be able to zoom yours.
It has worked. Thank you, teacher.
You're welcome.
David meets his uncle.
Hmm.
David's parents have died, and he has just arrived at the house of his father's brother, whom he has never met before. I waited. Presently, there came a loud rattling of chains and bolts. The door opened a little and shut again behind me as soon as I had slipped inside. Go into the kitchen, said the voice. I groped my way into the kitchen while the bolts crashed home behind me. The fire had burned up fairly bright and showed me the brightest room I have ever set my eyes upon. Half a dozen dishes stood upon the shelves. The table was laid for supper with a bowl of porridge, a spoon, and a cup of beer. There was not another thing in that great stone room but locked chests arranged along the wall and in the corner. As soon as he finished bolting the door, the man followed me into the kitchen. He was a stooping, narrow-shouldered creature. His age might have been anything between 50 and 70. He was unshaved, but what distressed me the most was that he would neither take his eyes away from me nor look me squarely in the face. Are you hungry? He asked, glancing at about the level of my knee. Can you eat that drop of porridge? Sir, can you put your spoon there? Thank you. I said, I feared it was his own supper. Ye may have it, he said, though I'll take the beer to wet my cough. He drank half the cup, still keeping an eye upon me as he drank, and then suddenly held out his hand. Let me see the letter, he said. The letter's for Mr. Balfour, I answered, not for you. And who do you think I am? He asked. Give me Alexander's letter. You know my father's name? It would be strange if I didn't, he replied. Since he was my own brother, I'm your born uncle, Davy, my man, and you, my born nephew. So give us the letter and sit down and fill your stomach. If I'd been some years younger, I think I would have burst into tears. As it was, I could find no words, but handed him the letter and sat down to eat his lumpy porridge. He stood by the fire, turning the letter over and over in his hands. How
Do you know
what's in it?
Do you?
Do you know what's in it? He asked. Yeah, teacher. Do you know what's in it? He asked suddenly. Sir, you can see for yourself, I said coldly. That's the seal has not been broken. So what about this other one?
Yeah.
The one of AY.
Hey, he said.
Hey, he said, but what brought you here? To give the letter, I answered. No, he said cunningly. There is more to it than that. You will be wanting something from me. Well, I said, I didn't. So can you put the screen higher?
What do you mean higher?
Okay, like
I'm
you,
going to zoom again.
yes, like that.
Is that okay?
There.
All right.
Well, I said, I didn't think when I was told that I had rich relatives that they might help me, but I'm no beggar. I have friends of my own that will be glad to help me. Who thought? Said Uncle Ebenezer. Don't lose your temper with me. We'll agree fine yet. And if you've come, and if you,
We're waiting. And if you've done with that porridge, Devi, has the reader gone off? Hello, can you hear me? Okay, let me complete for put hot, said Uncle Ebenezer. Don't lose your temper with me. Well, we will agree fine yet. And if you've done with that porridge, Devi, I could just take a bit of it myself. He went on. As soon as he had taken my place at the table, porridge is a good, fine food. No, you went off, what happened? Nolan, you're back?
yeah, I'm back.
What happened?
So I don't have good network.
They will look for the best network. If it means climbing the roof, you stand there with an umbrella.
Okay, teacher.
All right, but I did complete for you because we did not want the rest to wait, so I completed. Thank you so much for sharing.
You're welcome, sir.
The rest, we could have another reader, preferably now a boy child, gender balance. If you're not a boy at this time, I'm going to tell you to politely lower your hand. If you're not a boy, please lower your hand. Makumbi is a boy, I'm very sure. And if Makumbi is a girl this time, I'll mute them. Makumbi.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Do you mind reading for us?
No, sir, I don't.
Okay. So you're going to read for us. I hope this font is okay for you. If it's big, I could reduce. Are you okay with the letter
No,
size?
it is quite all right. Yes,
right,
it is.
All right,
Yes.
thank you. Take us on.
Okay. Davy meets his uncle. Davy's parents have died, and he has just arrived at the house of his father's brother, whom he has never met before.
Who is your
I
father's
waited.
brother? One word for your father's brother.
Davy's uncle.
Good.
I waited. Presently there came a loud rattling of chains and bolts. The door opened a little and shut again behind me as soon as I had slipped inside. "Go into the kitchen," said the voice. I groped my way into the kitchen while the bolts crashed home behind me. The fire had burned up fairly bright and showed me a barest room I ever set eyes upon. Half a dozen dishes stood upon the shelves. The table was laid for supper with a bowl of porridge, a spoon, and a cup of beer. There was not another thing in that great stone room but locked chests arranged along the wall in a corner. As soon as he finished bolting the door, the man followed me into the kitchen. He was a stooping, narrow-shouldered creature. His age might have been anything between 50 and 70. He was unshaved, but what distressed me most was that he would neither take his eyes away from me nor look me squarely in the face. "Are you hungry?" he asked, glancing at about the level of my knee. Can you eat that drop of porridge?" I said I feared it was his own supper. "Ye may have it," he said, "though I'll take the beer to wet my cough." He drank half the cup, still keeping an eye upon me as he drank. As he suddenly held out his hand, "Let's see the letter," he said. "The letter's for Mr. Balfour," I answered, "not for you." "And who do ye think I am?" he asked. "Give me Alexander's letter. You know my father's name." "It would be strange if I didn't," he replied, "since he was my own brother. I'm your born uncle, Davy, my man, and you my born nephew. So give me the letter and sit down and fill your stomach. If I'd been some years younger, I'd think I'd have burst into tears. As it was, I could find no words, but handed him the letter and sat down to eat his lumpy porridge. He stooped by the fire, turning the letter over and over in his hands. "Did I know what's in it?" he asked suddenly. "Sir, you can see for yourself," I said coldly. "That the seal has not been broken." "Aye," he said, "but what brought ye here?" "To give the letter," I answered. "No," he said cunningly. "There's more to it than that. You'll be waiting something from me." "Well," I said, "I didn't think when I was told that I'd had rich relatives that they might help me. But I'm no beggar. I've friends of my own that will be glad to help me." "Hoot toot," said my uncle Ebenezer. Don't lose your temper with me. We'll agree fine yet. And if you've done with that porridge, Davy, I could just take a bit of it myself. Aye," he went on, as soon as he had taken my place at the table, "porridge is a good, fine food."
Thank you so much. So,
You're welcome, sir.
Especially for those who had not read the story, we have had two readings. Also, you have had your own reading. So I'm sure this is good enough to boost our knowledge of the story. Usually, before I dive into the questions, I love to digest what the story is all about with asking basic questions. Who is in this story? What is he doing or what is she doing? What is happening in this story? So if someone could just give us a recap or their own understanding in 2, 3, 4 words of what is happening in this story, that would aid us a lot on our question approach later on. So by show of hands, anyone who can tell us what is happening in this story? Okay, we have also shared the link of the Google Classroom right there. Mr. To has shared that, and he has also given us more knowledge of what is happening. It's an English lesson, definitely by me, Teacher Larry. So for all those who are just joining us, this is English lesson. You're being taken on by Teacher Larry. Let me share something here that maybe could help to aid you. So the actual lesson plan is here. The other is our story. I thought some of you had read it. So I want us to digest this as well. Yes, by show of hands, who can tell us what is happening in our story? Who can tell us what is happening in our story? Real quick, what is happening in our story before I get to ask any questions? Okay, so this is the Senior 2 E-Class lesson, and this is taken on by me, Teacher Larry. Those who are just joining, those who are asking questions, a bit about me. I'm Teacher Lurry Onyul. I'm here because I love to teach, to learn, and share knowledge with students. And I'm happy with all those students who are participating and sharing their knowledge with us. It's a privilege always to share and learn from one another. Okay. Logose, Joanita, could you tell us what is happening in this story? Logose?
There is a boy, his name is Davy. He has just lost his father and he's meeting his uncle for the first time. Yeah, that's what I see in that story.
Okay. I know this is a sad one because he has lost his uncle, but at least have you met uncles in your own life and you feel like you don't like this uncle? I'm not preaching negativity, but what is your interaction like with your relatives, especially those that you have never seen? I want you to picture some of those incidents for your first time to meet your cousin or your cousins or your uncles. How were they behaving? So those are the pictures I want you to draw in here. Buramu's hand is up. What more can you tell us about Devi's uncle? And perhaps Devi himself, we have been told Devi has just lost his father. That is good enough. What more can you tell us about this uncle? Yes, Buram. Buram, yes. Okay. Man has run away. Okay. So next here we have a little inspiration for us before we dive into our questions. We have to be objective to learn. Most times we have fixed minds. We think this is what I know and therefore I am right or else. So to be objective is to have an open mind, to receive information and be able to learn, unlearn and relearn. That's a very good thing that I would encourage us to be. So straight away to our questions here. Let's go to our questions. What were the chains and bolts for? What were the chains and bolts for? Techno pop 2 power. Can I know who you are? Techno? Can I know who you are so that I can rename you? Yes? Techno? Techno puts up the hand and does not want to speak. Is admin Charles putting up his hand? Oh no, Crevens. Crevens, yes.
The chains and bolts were for locking the door.
The chains and bolts were for locking the door. How do you know? How do you get to conclude that they're for locking the door? Let us use the actual story so that we can easily refer to it. I have as well the questions under it. Krevins, how do you know? How do you get to know that they are for locking? Does someone want? Yes, Krevin, your hand is still up.
Well, because I know, because when there's a loud rattling of the chains and bolts, then the door is opened a little and then shut again.
Okay, where is that? Can you trace it and you read for us?
Presently, there came a loud rattling of chains and bolts. The door opened a little and shut again.
So what was your answer?
The chains and bolts were for closing the door.
But now you see you've forgotten the first part. The first ones were for opening and locking, because the second statement is the door opened a little and shut behind me. So they're used for bolting, yes, for closing and opening. Is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes, those would be the two complete answers there. You can really see it in your very first statement there. They can be able to show you. Are we together? Here they're showing us around here that the door opened a little and shut again behind me as soon as I slipped inside. So we shall say those two were used for closing and opening the door. Thank you so much. Unless someone has a different answer. Hope 2, I can only lower your hand. Yes, could you be able to talk to us? Your hand is up now. Your microphone is on. Hope 2 has disappeared. Okay, let us go to the next question. Let us go to the next question. Our next question is, what time of the day was it? Morning, afternoon, or evening? How can you tell? Our second question. What time of the day was it? Morning, afternoon, or evening? How can you tell? Same hands. Can I have different hands? At least I see different hands are coming in. Jeremiah. Jeremiah.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. We can't hear you. Jeremiah, you're too low. Okay, let us try someone else. Now there are people whose names I can't pronounce. Is it you boy? You boy? I don't know what you boy is. Can you rename yourself? I don't think that's your real name. Yes, you boy. I guess you also Narwanga. Naruoga, sorry. Swabra.
Good morning, sir.
Morning to you.
I think the time was evening.
Mm.
The time of the day was evening
How do you know?
because usually the fire is put out on the fireplace during evening time.
What is to put out a fire?
Teacher.
Oh, sorry, I meant when Davy had entered his uncle's house, he saw fire turning. Where is it?
I'm going to scroll and then we. Are you saying? Are you saying?
No, not yet.
I've adjusted. I'm in the first slide.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Okay.
The fire had burned up fairly bright, and the bolts and showed me the barest room I have ever set eyes upon.
So what is your proper reason? How can you phrase your reason in a proper grammatical sentence?
There was fire that was burned up fairly bright inside the house.
Okay, there's an idea. Let me check the chat here. It was evening, I could tell because Devi and his uncle were having supper. That's a good one. Techno Pop 2, you're saying you have a problem. Could you tell us your problem? You could still type your problem in my chat. I can be able to read. Thank you. That was a good one. Who is this one who has shared with us such a good point? That is one. We could have another one. Desire. Oh yes, Desire, thank you so much. That was a good one. Another one said, I think it was morning because they were eating. They are eating porridge. Now you're contradicting with Desire. Porridge can be eaten at any time. It's not necessarily the fact that, but the fact supper is always a time thing for evening. So yes, or dinner, you know. So I think that is okay. Desire, thank you. Let me check another person who could have shared with us. So Miss Nana or Miss Ghana, that was not true. Teacher, is this senior 3 or senior 2? Please, this is senior 2, Iona Maria. You're in the wrong class. Please make sure next time you have the right link to be here. Teacher, I have just joined and I do not know the topic. This is senior 2. We are having comprehension. We're having a passage, Devi meets his uncle. I have shared this passage as well in our Google Classroom. Okay. I think it's evening because they're having supper. Manchester, now you're giving other people's answers, but thank you so much. You have a correct one as well. Let me see, by show of hands, any other person maybe who has something to share. So we shall take that, but the other reason I could be able to give is because they are using candles to show the way. That means it's dark. Evening is usually for night before it reaches midnight, and then we call it morning. However, at this point you can say it is evening because they're using even the candlelight. So there are two reasons you could give. You give the reason of using candles to show the way, to light up the way, and then secondly, they are having supper. I don't know who can read for us that point where it says, well, Maria, are you there? Maria who had given an answer, was it Maria? There's a person here. HPE. What is HPE? Could you tell us what's HPE?
Yes, teacher.
What is HPE?
No, it's just the name of the laptop.
Okay, what's your name?
My name is Sozi Jesse.
Sozi, I hope I've spelled it right.
Yes, it's like that.
Okay, Sozi.
Yeah, I had my answer.
Please.
I think it was evening because they were eating porridge.
But don't we eat porridge in the morning?
Evening, teacher. Maybe.
But no, here Here is porridge. You're saying your reason is porridge. Are you seeing? Let me show you. Are you seeing my are you seeing where I'm pointing currently?
Yes.
Okay. I want you to read for us from this, beginning from here, the fire.
Yes.
Read for us beginning from the word the fire.
The fire had burned up fairly bright and shown me the brightest room I have ever set eyes upon.
Continue.
Half a dozen dishes stood up the shelves. The table was laid for supper with a bowl of porridge.
Now, what is your reason now?
My reason is that it was evening because they were having supper as their porridge.
Or porridge as their supper.
Porridge as their supper. Sorry, teacher.
It's okay.
Yes.
That's a nice one. Thank you so much for sharing. Let's have the next
Okay.
question. Okay. Thank you for sharing. All those who are sharing in the chat, I'm seeing, and I will be able to read for you. Evening, because they have, please endeavor to have full grammatical sentences, not these things of cause, day, the supper, those things. Please spell words fully and make proper grammatical sentences. This is grammar. The link which Mr. To, I'm told the link you've shared sends people to senior one. I don't think that's true, but please, Mr. To could verify that again. And we work on that. Next question. Thank you so much, those who are sharing. Next question, number 3. The room was very bare. In other words, there was not much dash in it. Who can be able to share that with us? What does that mean? The room was very bare. In other words, there was not much dash in it. Yes. You boy, this time, can I rename you before even you say anything? You boy, what's your name?
It means that there was nothing in the room.
You boy, what is your name?
That's my name, teacher. That's my name.
Could you spell it for us?
Hello?
Spell for us your name.
Just my name, teacher.
Pronounce it and spell it for us.
I say it's called you boy. Boy. It's my name.
Okay, fine. I will not stretch hard. Okay, so what's your answer? What's your answer? There was barely anyone.
I think there's nothing. It means that there's nothing. There's barely anything in the room.
Okay, what could you have at least a constructive? What are those things that we have in for example, when you enter someone's sitting room or bedroom, what are those things that we expect to find there? What can you have as a collective name for those things? Okay, maybe you boy is a little lost. Thank you. You can, but we needed someone to be more specific, at least with a collective noun. So let me take Flavia.
I think the answer is the room was very bare. In other words, there was not much stuff in it.
What collective word can we use for that stuff? At least the term that is known. You boy, could you mute yourself? Mute yourself.
Luggage.
Luggage?
Teacher, luggage.
But
Yes.
luggage is for, what is luggage? Usually for people who are going to travel. What kind of things do you have in the house? At least one collective word for them. Okay, thank you. We shall still take that. Let us have Olga. Olga, yes? Yes, Olga? Sorry, Olga, yes?
I think There was less furniture in the room.
Thank
Teacher?
you so much. Yes, that is the right answer. Usually at home we have furniture, so you can say there was barely any furniture in the room. It means there was little or no furniture in the room. Yes, thank you so much, Olga, for sharing. That's a good one. We shall take Olga's answer as our final answer. Melissa, you want to say something shortly? Yes, Melissa? Oh, she has gone off. Thank you so much. Let us go to the next number. What was the name? What was the man's name? People had shared there was not much property. Okay, property. Okay, others are saying household items for number 4. Number 3, that is also okay. Furniture, yes, the right collective noun there would be furniture. Household, furniture. Okay, yes, furniture would be the right word. Okay, Avuramu also was right on number 2. Thank you. I've seen your responses. That is a good one. Admin, is your hand up?
Yes, teacher.
You have robbed me. You have robbed me. How I thought admin was my boss. Now you are here.
The man was called Ebenezer.
You have collected the answer from the entire clan at home. Admin, what is your name? Admin, what's your name? Admin, what's your name? Okay. It seems admin is busy with other duties. Okay, that is going. I'm looking at the next number. We did not hear her answer. The question is, what was the man's name? Let me check the chart. The man's name was Ebenezer. Grace Letty. How do you say he's called Devi? And our title is Devi meets his uncle. In short, what is the name of Devi's uncle? That is what the question is asking of us. The man was called Uncle Ebenezer. Can we look at our passage? Again, I see people are misfiring here. Who can be able to show us that part where the name is mentioned? Yes? Who can be able to locate for us that name? Joanita? Joanita, where are you?
Should I read the sentence?
Very much so.
The letters for Mr. Balfour. I answered. Not for you. And who do you think I am? He asked.
Thank you. So what is your answer?
The man's name, Mr. Balfour is the man's name.
Okay, or David's uncle is called?
Mr. Balfour.
Okay, thank you. And who is Ebenezer? Yes? Can we create clarity? Who is Ebenezer and where is that statement where we have Ebenezer? Yes? Who is Ebenezer? Admin, your hand is still up. Are you still giving us the old answer or the new one? Yes? Who is Ebenezer? Can you make clarity? And where do you find that statement where we have Ebenezer? Someone's hand is up. Infinix Hot 10. What's your name? What's your name? What's your name?
Hello. Hi.
Yes, what's
Teacher.
your name? Yes.
My name is Tracy.
Tracy, can you give us clarity? Who is Ebenezer? Can you read for us that statement where there is Ebenezer? Okay, first give us your answer, then I'll ask you to clarify. Yes, Tracy?
Was the name of the father.
Pardon?
I think Ebenezer was the name of the father.
Where do you get to know that?
In this sentence, wait. And who do ye think I am? He asked. Give me Ebenezer's letter. You know my father's name.
But I'm saying, and who do you think I am? He asked. Give me Alexander's letter. Where are you seeing Ebenezer?
Okay, let me give another answer. Okay, it's the son.
Are you sure? I think we are misfiring here. Let's get other people to clarify for us. Admin Otto is hands up. Admin, you want to give us an answer?
Yes. Yes, I want you to make me the host at those connection at some point.
That's
Thank
fine.
you.
You're welcome, sir. Yes, let us go back to our Tracy. Have you seen it? Please let us make clarity because we don't want to misfire. Sozi, your hand is up. Yes, Sozi. Yes, Sozi.
I know the answer.
What is the answer?
They are hearing me.
I am. Everything you've been saying, I've heard. Okay, Liz, let me take Liz. Yes, Liz. Seems some people's hands are just up. Liz. Sozi. Sozi, are you there? Okay, let's look at the next question. Who was Alexander? Very first, who was Alexander? Who was Alexander by show of hands? Who was Alexander? Cravens, who was Alexander? Suraina. Suraina, yes. Suraina. Suraina, are you there? Mr. Otto, are you hearing me? Mr. Otto? Mr. Otto? Mr. Otto, can you hear me? Grace Letty? Grace Letty? Anyone who can unmute, please, you can answer, the ones who are up here. Yes? Mr. Otto, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I'm trying to unmute students and I'm unable.
Oh, fine. Let me see what I can do. Oh, unmuting them. Oh, let me see. But you are the co-host. You're supposed to do that.
Yes, I'm doing that, but it's not responding because I'm calling out all students who are putting up their hands and they're not.
Could be network issues. Could be network. Let me try. Let me try with Liz. Liz, can you try to unmute? Liz?
Yes, I have.
Oh,
Yes,
fine.
teacher.
Yes, the answer. We're on number. We're looking at the next question. Who is Alexander?
Teacher, asking me.
Oh, yes, because your hand is up as well.
Okay, I think Alexander is the father to David's father.
Oh, that's a whole chain of a tribe. Which one is that?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Okay, I think Alexander is the grandfather to David.
Are you seeing this? I'm going to show you an intonation. Yeah, I'm trying to show
No,
you something.
no, wait.
So you realize you're not doing the right thing. Are you seeing what?
Okay, wait, teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay, I think Alexander is David's father.
I do not think it should be.
Yes, okay, Alexander is David's father.
That is a proper grammatical statement. That is what I want to hear, not I think, because it will pass as a thought, not as a statement. So I wanted you to make a sentence, and that is okay. Thank you. Let us look at the next question very fast. Next question. Very fast. We could look at the next question. At least so that by the time I leave you to complete the rest, we have an idea. Why do you think Devi nearly burst into tears? Why do you think Devi nearly burst into tears? Why do you think Devi almost burst into tears? Nolan Kasut. Yes? Nolan? iPhone 12 Pro. iPhone 12 Pro. Mr. To, the same thing is happening.
Yes, please.
I wanted the iPhone 12 Pro to unmute. And also,
Okay, fine. Let me see.
Olga, can you hear me? Olga, can you hear me? Olga, can you hear me? Okay, for those who can hear me,
Okay,
the remaining.
okay. I'm going to make you the host. Anyway, I've even seen time is almost done. I'm going to make you the host, and then you just make me the co-host. Then after you end the meeting, right?
Okay.
All right. Yeah. Let me make you the host.
All right. All right. Those who can be able to hear me. Olga, are you there?
Yes, teacher. According to my understanding, Dave was almost going to cry because the letter reminded him of his dad.
Are you sure, Olga?
His letter.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Can we look for that
As
part in the
when
statement?
his uncle.
I want you to read from here. Are you seeing this page? Are you seeing the page I'm sharing? I want you to read from. It would be strange if I didn't. He replied, since he was my own brother. I am your born uncle, Devi, my man, and you my born nephew. So give us the letter and sit down and fill your stomach. Then read for me from if
I had been some years younger, I think
I would have burst into tears. Why do you think he's saying that? Why do you think he's saying that? Yes, the answer is here. His uncle spoke to him rudely or spoke to him in a rude manner. That would be the answer for that. Okay, so the rest of us, I'm going to ask you to do one thing. We shall complete these other sentences, these other questions as part of our assignment. I'm going to upload the work as assignments, and then we shall be able to attempt them. I would expect you to do about the last 3 numbers, actually 4, 7, 8, 9. So thank you so much for attending, for all those who have been able to attend. Thank you so much for all those who have been able to attend, and have a
Thank
good
you,
day.
teacher.
All right.
Thank you,
Excuse me,
teacher.
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 Have a nice day.
Religious education.
Thank you, teacher.
Welcome.